What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Investing Bros. This is the morning news update. So whether it's your morning, evening, or afternoon, this is going to get you ready for everything you need to know today with your investments into crypto. My name is Tim. We got a lot to cover here. Some things are happening on the charts. We also have some news coming. That's going to be a meeting next week between the SEC and Congress. Once again, this could continue to be a long-term bullish move for not only Bitcoin, XRP, but the altcoin space as a whole, crypto as a whole, could be amazing. Are we witnessing the final days of the SEC? We will have to wait till next week, but we're going to learn a little more about that today in this update. Make sure you go ahead and smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you love crypto, if you love news and TA, and you love getting your morning started off right. You found the right channel. You found the right video. I am joined this morning by my co-host, Mr. T. Shroom, from down in Gainesville, Florida. He's got the news, but first of all, T. Shroom, how are you feeling this morning?
Better than I deserve, Tim. Really,
Good.
really good, and well rested. Got a good night's sleep last night.
That's all we can hope for, you know?
Indeed. Well, let's go ahead and jump right on into the stories here, Tim. We're going to go to Washington first. U.S. Congress to scrutinize the SEC's agenda amid war against crypto. So we know and hate this story. We know we've been tracking it for a while. Let's look at some of the details. The United States House Financial Services Committee, the FSC, a committee within the U.S. government, has announced a hearing scheduled for Tuesday, October 24th. The committee is to review the U.S. SEC's agenda and its unintended consequences on capital markets and investors. So that's the subject, the unintended consequences, Tim. Those consequences have been very unintended indeed. The committee has continually advocated for clear crypto regulation and is led by Chairman Patrick McHenry, one of the emerging heroes of crypto, at least on the inside of the walls of Washington. Chairman Patrick McHenry has called out the SEC for failing to comply with congressional oversight by overreaching to regulate an industry that Congress has not granted the agency power to oversee. Very important words. If this is a message that could resonate in Congress, Tim, your words that we are maybe in the last days of the SEC could actually be in order. Be in order. Of course, I don't think that the institution itself of the SEC, the agency, would be going away, but they may clear house on the personnel inside of it. And last detail here. Over the past year, the SEC has brought enforcement actions against mainstay crypto companies such as Ripple, Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken. The House committee perceives these actions as an overreach and hopes to curtail the SEC's efforts, which would largely impede the growth of digital assets in the U.S. So, Tim, there's a lot here. There is quite a bit here. And then we've got another pretty chunky story. But I do want to get your take on this before we get too much further. Is this the end of the SEC?
Yeah, no, I think you put it well. Maybe not the end of the three-letter agency, but maybe the end of the current regime. We know the last time that we had a congressional hearing, Patrick McHenry heavily threatened a subpoena. And again, this article kind of goes into that. Is this the one where that threat becomes a reality? That would not be good for Gary Gensler. Some believe that he might want to step down before a subpoena comes. So maybe this is just the second level of the threat. Maybe it never happens. We'll have to see. But it does sound like Patrick McHenry and Congress are continually fed up with the SEC and their lack of clarity when it comes to this, quote unquote, war against crypto. So very interesting to see what happens next week. It'll be Tuesday, the 24th, the 24th. So very interesting stuff. I can't wait to hear how that one goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a story of intrigue, and it is going to be very interesting to watch because it could have very big implications. So we'll see. It could it could just as easily get completely clogged up in Congress and go absolutely nowhere. Our government is very notorious for that here in the United States.
They'll do that.
Well, we're going to leave the U.S. here and go to, I believe, Russia is where Snowden lives right now. Edward Snowden, Bitcoin ETF warning, what you need to know. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that, but last I heard,
I think he's still in Russia,
in Moscow or somewhere in Russia.
He's got to live somewhere that doesn't extradite to the U.S. So
right, or at least extradite him. Anyway, at the crux of his argument lies a fundamental concern that the advent of Bitcoin ETFs could progressively domesticate the very essence of the crypto, steering it away from its roots of decentralization. That's quite, if those are his
Yeah.
words, that's quite a sentence. I think it says it all right there. And it's kind of been the elephant in the room in crypto, if you ask me. These ETFs are, in essence, taming Bitcoin, he said, propelling an immediate and fervent dialogue within the crypto community. Central to discourse is the pressing question of whether the introduction of Bitcoin ETFs represent a gradual erosion of the principles underpinning the decentralization and permissionless financial system, or if it serves as a stepping stone towards the broader acceptance and integration of the crypto asset within the traditional finance framework. So I don't believe there's any more details that I had highlighted now. So we'll open it up there,
Yeah.
Tim. Do you think that this is an erosion of the principles that underpin decentralization and permissionlessness? And is Bitcoin being domesticated here? Is that what we're seeing with these ETFs?
It could. I think that we're a little ways off, and I'm going to explain why as briefly as possible. But what's going to happen here is if people become too in love with getting their Bitcoin, because remember, Bitcoin's a store of value. People are not thinking. The mass majority of people in the world are not thinking about decentralization. They're thinking about value. And if they believe that Bitcoin's best store of value, they might want to go to at first a safer investment style where they don't actually have to be their own custodian. They can just purchase it from BlackRock or ARK Invest or Fidelity, and then those companies hold all the Bitcoin. So what Snowden's getting at is we could see a level where right now, by the way, I think 99% of Bitcoin is held by the top 1% of holders. That could get even more so in that direction. Here's the thing, though. I think long term, especially as we have more adoption and more steps that make it easier but still safe to be a self-custodian and be your own bank, don't be surprised if people at first invest into Bitcoin and store their value in something like BlackRock, holding value there, not holding their own Bitcoin. But then they learn more about this Bitcoin. They learn more about cryptocurrency, and they realize, I don't need BlackRock. I can sell my BlackRock holdings and then go buy my own Bitcoin and hold it in my own wallet and have a lot safer bet. So Snowden raises a good point. But the beauty of Bitcoin, I've called it this before, it's like a Trojan horse. It might sneak its way into governments and financial institutions because of its store of value, but ultimately their desire to have centralized power, Bitcoin's not built for centralized power. It's built to, the more decentralized it is, the more powerful and the more valuable it is. The more centralized it becomes, it actually could harm the value. So long term, Snowden will see, but I still think Bitcoin being a decentralized coin moving forward is still intact.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that that Snowden raises some really good concerns, and it's concerns that I've kind of had rattling around in the back of my head. But there's enough people talking about it kind of at the edges that I feel like it's being addressed. But
he's also, and probably for good reason, he's just so anti-establishment, so anti-centralized government agencies, centralized businesses. Mm-hmm. I understand his concerns, but he also is leaning that direction based off his whole life. And he knows more on the issue probably than I do. But again, when it comes to Bitcoin, if we see it get too centralized, it's actually going to affect the value of it, and then it ceases to be a thing. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that it's going to be more of a Trojan horse where it gets into centralized systems, plays the game with centralized systems, but ultimately it's just too good a value to not stay decentralized, and it will find its way back over decentralized hands.
Very, very good. All right, well, let's take a look here at the last story, guys. More of a disclaimer. Sometimes the New York Times actually has paragraphs towards the end of their paper that show the mistakes they've made. Well, a lot of crypto YouTube channels and media outlets are going to be issuing this very statement. So, Roblox debunks inaccurate XRP support claims, says crypto payments not allowed. So that's pretty much it. I could stop there, but we are sorry. This was proliferated all over the internet. But no, if you were looking to take a trade based off of this, probably find a way to unwind that. But what I will say, Tim, is this does, putting on my tinfoil hat a little bit, this is a second major, not as major as the ETF approval headline, obviously, but second pretty big fake headline, just completely fake headline. So be careful out there, guys. Take an extra couple minutes to verify what you're seeing.
And, it's the season of fake news. Because nothing's happening.
Tis.
Someone's got to make it exciting. So we got to have some fake news,
Tis. Well, speaking of making it exciting, Tim, let's go ahead and jump right on over to your charts. But before you do, I want to show everybody an opportunity, and that is an opportunity to be compliant, right? You've got your crypto investments. You do some crypto trading, and here you go. Decrypted.tax is going to be the place you want to go. We've got a link down in the description of this very video so that you can get a significant discount. I believe it's 25% off their fees, and you're going to have a great time because most of the time you think about taxes, you're like, oh gosh. I know that's how I feel. But with Decrypt.tax, we actually know the guy who runs it. We had a nice meeting with him, Ernest.
Yeah.
And when you go there and you try to explore that option, just tell Ernest we sent you. Now, you might be thinking, but I have a whole business and I have a whole bunch of other, I have a full-time job. I don't want to have to go to two different tax people. You don't have to. If you are crypto invested, this is going to be your guy for all of your tax needs. So go check it out. Decrypted.tax. Check it out today. You get a 25% discount and it supports the channel. So 25% discount, decrypted.tax. Tim, take it away.
Let's do it. Let's start off with economic update, just some important things. Inflation in Great Britain came out this morning, same as last month, but we're looking at year over year. It was actually expected consensus 6.6, forecasted at 6.5, so it came out a little higher over there in Great Britain. They had a great month last month, but this month they ticked back up a little higher than they thought. They thought they would continue to cut. Not happening at this point. So Great Britain, get it together. Waiting this morning. This has already come out by the time you're watching this video, but we'll cover this in our 3 p.m. live show. Building permits are coming out this morning in the U.S. at 8:30 a.m. We also will have a bunch of speeches this afternoon from the Fed, different chairmen in the Fed. Tomorrow, initial jobless claims are coming out. That's going to be important. Chair Powell. He's going to be speaking tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we're going to want to hear what he has to say. As it stands right now, it's a little bit down from yesterday's 90, but we're hovering in the same area, 88.9%, still saying we're paused. However, these people that are giving these probabilities at the Fed Watch here at CME are now predicting that we're not going to see a rate cut until July. We actually had scooted up back into June here more recently, but they're kind of backing off and that saying pause for a little bit longer. They're now saying July is going to be the time we get our first rate cut. So definitely pay attention to that. Our Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index ticking slightly down this morning at 50 after being at 52 yesterday. So staying in the neutral zone, not moving too far, but it is a slight tick to the downside. No massive movers necessarily on our coin market cap open here. Not a lot of big ones. There's a mixed bag of green and red, but nothing moving more than what Toncoin is doing in the top 20. It's up 3.3%, but that's not even that makes it green for the week, but it's only up 2.5% for the week. So a mixed bag here for crypto. Biggest gainers, Trust Wallet, Toncoin coming in second place. Biggest losers, again, around 6% level. Conflux, Sui, Lido DAO kind of wrap us out there. But we'll talk more about that this afternoon if anything big happens to those bigger coins. Let's take a look at Bitcoin really quickly. We're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano this morning. We'll go more in depth in the afternoon show, as we always do. But remember, we're still watching for this head and shoulders pattern to play out on Bitcoin. We're still seeing things kind of round off. Again, we're in a bullish trend technically since back here in September, setting higher highs and higher lows. But it does look like we're starting the rounding off period this morning. Looking at the hourly chart, we broke a small trend that started yesterday of higher highs, higher lows. We broke back down, stay lower low here. We came back up, retested this support level as resistance, and you will see the chart starting to move to the downside now. We are getting some green histograms here on the hourly chart. Let's see how that one kind of moves. But 4 hour looking bearish, looks like we're moving our way down. The oscillators are kind of telling us to move down. The daily chart ticking that red reversal, as well as it's not flashing on the chart prime oscillator here, but this is a higher high on the oscillator, even though it's a lower high in price. We just covered this yesterday on the live show. When you see a higher high in price and a lower high in oscillators, that is bearish divergence. It's called strong bearish divergence. It indicates a reversal could be coming. So that could absolutely back up what we're seeing here with this being a right shoulder for Bitcoin's price. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum this morning. Ethereum continues to fall below that long-term support level of what was an ascending triangle, but now we've lost it, and we're turning that former support level continuing into resistance down this morning. Now we are holding a long-term support level from back here in March. We're holding this green line as support. We even had some bullish divergence kind of help clarify that for the daily chart. So a little bit more bullish there on the daily for Ethereum. Maybe we see it pick up a little bit more on its Ethereum over Bitcoin chart. We'll take a look at that this afternoon. Bouncing off the midline here on the 4-hour, we're starting to see a little bit more of a bullish day for Ethereum. And because of this, we are seeing Bitcoin dominance start to fall here a little bit. There's no coin that does more damage to the Bitcoin dominance than if Ethereum picks up some value when Bitcoin's dropping. So that's what we're seeing there on Ethereum. Cardano, we have a large grouping that of our community that loves Cardano. But I will say, guys, we continue to kind of test this 24-cent zone, a long-time support. I don't think it's going to hold long-term. We're getting closer to it, and yet we're not seeing the green histograms coming in even here on the 4-hour chart. Let's take a look at daily. Daily is maybe sitting a little bit better spot, but not in the mid-level. Money flow still flowing to the downside. As we get closer towards that 24-cent level, I do think we're going to end up losing it. We're continuing to watch probably a pullback down to support of a falling wedge pattern, but realistically probably coming down somewhere in the 18 to 14 cent zone. We'll talk more about this afternoon as well, because Ben Cohen has recently made some charts about the 88 over Bitcoin chart, and I'm going to explain what that would mean in more depth in the afternoon show. So make sure you're there, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, that's all we have for you in this morning news update. But if you enjoyed the video and you got something from it, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you this afternoon. We'll also have our silver members only bro time following that stream, so make sure you're there. With that being said, you guys have an amazing day.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.